Very good morning. Last lecture, we have defined normal distribution. Okay, and we have seen the scalar multiple of a normal distribution is normal, and the shifting of a normal operator is a normal random variable is again normal. And so with that, we can conclude the following remark that if X follows normal distribution with mean, mu, and variance in sigma square, then if you use this transformation, Z equals to X minus mu by sigma. So it is in the form of Y is equals to AX plus B. Or you can say A plus BX if I want to relate with the previous exercise. Okay, and where if you choose A is equals to minus mu by sigma and the B equals to 1 by sigma, okay, then this also does follow the normal distribution, which we call this is as standard normal variable whose CDF means cumulative distribution function, which we are going to denote by this capital P of Z. Okay, and its definition of this standard distribution function we have in here. Okay, that we have seen already, 1 by square root of 2 pi integration minus infinity to z e to the power minus y square by 2 dy. So which is essentially the probability of z less than equal to z. So see, y is a dummy index, so you can replace it by z or you can replace by x, whatever which means which variable you are comfortable with. Okay, so what is the nice property attached with the standard normal variable is it is this if you plot the curve of the probability density function, which will be symmetric about the mean, and mean is 0. So about the line y equals to about the line y-axis means x equals to 0. So means half of the area covered below y-axis means before y-axis, and half the area covered after y-axis. And then it follows the symmetric means like you take here x equals to minus z and y equals to z x equals to z. So before minus z, whatever the area will be covered by this curve will be same. It will be same as after means the area covered after this x equals to z. Okay, so this symmetry allows us to evaluate the area of means like covered before minus z in terms of positive values. So you can, instead of p of minus z is probability of z less than equals to minus z, you can essentially can be obtained by taking the probability of z greater than z. So either way you can use it. So why it is important to know the symmetric property? Because we are going to use the standard normal table. Okay, and where the values are known, where the values are given only for positive values. Okay, so you can obtain by using this symmetry the values for the negative means like at where the argument is negative. Okay, so you can still use that normal table there. Okay, right. So with this we have the following which denotes that if you are interested in finding the probability of x less than b, where x follows a normal distribution with the mean, mu, and sigma square. Okay, the standard normal table will be giving you values for probability for distribution function of standard normal variable. Okay, so it will give you the area covered by the standard normal variable. Okay, that standard normal distribution function. So this is why it is important to conversion means like conversion the equivalent event of this, okay, into the standard normal variable. So how? So you means you subtract mu both side and divide by sigma both side. So that also clearly I have already mentioned in the definition that sigma is greater than 0. So when you there's no confusion that what happens sigma equals to 0 and so on. Okay, or sigma is negative, then equality will change. So sigma is always a greater than 0 number. Okay, so once you do apply this transformation, so you can essentially write down this the given probability in terms of standard normal distribution function, and then you try to use the table value from the table value for evaluating this distribution function. Okay, so right, so let's try to solve one problem. Okay, and let us try to know how do we use that standard normal table here. Okay, right, so this is the standard normal table which I am going to come back once I will be starting with the solving the problem. Okay, so now let's take this exercise. Let's say X follows this normal distribution with mean, this is mean mu, and this is sigma square. So that should be clear that it's not sigma. Okay, it's not standard deviation here, it's here mean. Okay, so from here it should be clear that mu equals to 3 and sigma equals to 4, not minus 4. You can say that square root of this is minus 4 as well, but sigma is always positive, so you have to take sigma equals to 4 only. Okay, so now with these values, I want to evaluate this here. So I have the information that X follows normal distribution with mean mu and sigma is 4. So I want to do this, evaluate this. I will just convert it into the standard normal variate. So to do so, you should remember that what will be the standard normal variate for given normal variable is X minus mu by sigma. Means you subtract mean and divide by standard deviation, the whole at quantity. So I will subtract X minus mu, mu is 3, divide by sigma, sigma is 4. So this will also not change the inequality. So 11 minus 3 by 4. So what is this value is equals to probability of X minus 3 by 4 less than 11 minus 3 is 8, right? 8 by 4 is 2. So this value is nothing but phi of 2. See, in continuity, less than or less than equals to doesn't have any change. Okay, that means it will not make any change in the area. Okay, in the continuous case. Okay, however, it will matter in case of discrete random variables. Okay, so now I want to see what is the value of phi of 2. Okay, so I want to see the phi of 2 values. I think this is not maybe not visible to you, so let me, okay, so let me show you. So I am interested in the value of 2. So I have this is so this X values are, this is 0.1. So first, right, 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.6, 0.9, 1.0 till 3.4. Okay, and you have this 0.0, 0.01, 0.02, means you are going to add. So if you want to read this first row here, so it is 0.0. So this is 0.00 value. The second is 0.01. Third is this is 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, means 0 plus this. Now, if you try to see the second row value is 0.1. So 0.1 plus 0.0, so is 0.1. So 0.1 value is 0.5398. Now, if you look at the next here, next to this, okay, means okay, in the second column, so it is 0.11 value. So 0.1 plus 0.01. So if I see, if I want to say this value, what will be this representing? So this corresponding to this row means like 0.3 plus 0.7. So this is going to be 0.37. So this value will be of phi of 0.37. Okay, similarly, I want to look at here, let's say this this value, what will be this representing in this normal table. So it corresponds to this 1.7 plus this 0.2. So it is going to correspond to phi of 1.7 and so on. So what I'm interested in, phi at 2. So phi at 2 is going to be this 0.9772. So you can see in this table, okay, what this table also gives you is the last row is almost equals to 1. Okay, so 3.4 plus 3.4 plus 0.09 is 3.49 is 0.99998. Okay, 998. So it almost covering the whole area. Okay, means you are almost the nearest about the tail, means like afterwards it's almost equals to 1 only. So after 3 point means you can say 3.5 onwards. Okay, so you will see when you talk about the confidence interval, what will be the value lies is what will be the area covered between mu minus sigma plus sigma. Okay, mu plus minus sigma, mu minus 2 sigma to mu plus 2 sigma. Okay, and so on. So mu minus 3 sigma to mu plus 3 sigma. Okay, so the area, I think this will be your answering. Okay, so it's minus 3 2 plus 3, so almost whole area will be covered. And if you go with the mu minus 4 sigma to mu plus 4 sigma, so mu is 0 for this standard normal variable. Okay, and sigma will be 1. Okay, so the all values will lie between minus 3 to 3, or you can say minus 3.52 plus 3.5. Okay, so confidence interval means like the area will be more than 0.997 or something you will when you will talk about it. Okay, due to this estimation technique and all. Okay, so this is how you will look at the values. So what is our favorable value now is 0.9772. So this value is approximately 0.9772 from the standard normal. Now now let's see this now. So again, I can convert it into standard normal variable. So I'm with the same question. So I will be subtracting mean. So x minus 3 by 4 is greater than minus 1 minus 3 by 4. So that's going to be probability of x minus 3 by 4 greater than minus 4 by 4 is minus 1. Okay, so this is going to be what is this value is? So this is going to be more than minus 1. So 1 minus, this is less than minus 1. So that's going to be phi of minus 1. 1 minus phi of minus 1. Now I will be using the symmetry that whatever the let me go back and that graph. So I have this is, let's say this is minus 1 here and this is 1. So whatever the area covered before minus 1, that will be the same as the area covered after 1. Okay, so this is going to be same as you have, this is going to be you have this is 1 minus probability of z greater than 1. Right, so what will be this is equals to 1 minus probability of z greater than 1. So you can again use this 1 minus probability of z less than equals to 1. Okay, so that will give you phi of 1. Yes, so this 1 minus 1 will be 0 and this will be ending with the probability of z less than equals to 1. So phi of 1 value, so what it will be is going to be 0.8413. From here, if you look at the graph, this is the row where 1 point is 0.8413. Okay, so this value is approximately 0.841. Okay, right. So now let's take this part now. So I have this is equals to probability of, I'm going to add and divide by standard deviation here. So I'm doing in the similar fashion. Inequality will not change because the sigma is always positive. So it's 7 minus 3 by 4. So what it is probability of, this is minus 1 by 4 means minus 0.25 less than x minus 3 by 4 and less than, this is 7 minus 3 is 4 by 4, that is 1. So I hope this can be recognized, right? That is going to be phi of 1 minus phi of minus 0.25. So if you recall, what is the probability of A less than X less than B whenever X is continuous random variable? That's going to be fxb minus fxb. Okay, if you recall that. So here the X is standard normal variate, so standard normal distribution. So again, for this negative value, I will use the symmetry here. So that's going to be P of 1 minus 1 minus P of 0.25. Okay, P of minus Z is equals to 1 minus P of Z. That's that we are going to use. So that's going to be now P of 1 plus P of 0.25 minus 1. Now you can go and P1 value just now we have seen, that's going to be 0.8413. 0.8413 plus P of 0.25. So 0.25 means you are in this row, 0.2 and 0.25 means this is the value 0.5987 plus 0.5987 minus 1. So you can write this approximately what will be the value, final value is let me use the calculator. The value, final value is going to be is 0.8413 plus 0.5987 minus, so 0.44. So this is going to be 0.44 approximately. Right, so this is how you will use the standard normal table to evaluate these probabilities. Okay, right. So now let's take one more example. Okay, so here is the one, so which we can read. Okay, the power W, which is denoted by W, dissipated in a resistor is proportional to the square of the voltage V. Okay, so that is, you have this W relation is R time V square. Okay, where R is a constant. So if R equals to 3 and it is given that V follows the normal distribution with mean 6 and variance is 1, then you are supposed to find what is the expectation of this W. You are supposed to find what is the probability of this W greater than 120. Okay, right. So let's do this problem. So I am interested in finding expectation of W. So that's going to be expectation of R time V square, and that is going to be, so that's going to be R time expectation of V square since R is constant. So now R value is given to you, that is 3. Okay, and what is expectation of V square is, what is expectation of V square is, I can see, I have been either you have two ways, either you will use the density function now for V, or you have the information that V follows normal distribution with the mean 6 and the variance is 1. Okay, so I have, this is expectation of V is 6. Okay, and variance of V is equals to 1. So I hope this from here, these two cases, you can certainly find what is expectation of V square. So you know, variance of V is expectation of V square minus expectation of V whole square. So that's going to be 1 plus expectation of V whole square. Okay, so that's going to be 1 plus 30, that's going to be 37. Okay, so this is going to be, so this is 3 into 37, and that is equals to 111. Okay, so this is a one line answer, okay, without using the probability density function. Okay, or else you can work with that integral. Now this is the first part. But the second part, I am interested in finding probability of W greater than 120. Okay, now see what is W is R time V square, so that is 3 times V square is greater than 120. So this is equals to probability of V square greater than 40, right? So this is equals to probability of, so V square greater than 40 means V is greater than square root of 40, that is the equivalent event. Okay, now use the fact that V follows the normal distribution with mean 6 and variance 1. So I can transform it into the standard normal variate. So for to do so, what is there is this is equals to probability of V minus mean divided by variance, that's greater than square root of 40 minus 6 by 1. Okay, right? So which is equals to probability of V minus 6 by 1 greater than, so this value, if we evaluate by calculator, that's going to be 0.3246. Okay, and what is that is V minus 6 by 1, this V minus 6 by 1 is standard normal variate. This is standard normal variate. So this is Z greater than 0.3246. So that's going to be 1 minus phi of 0.3246. Okay, right. So this is going to be equals to now 0.3246. So it is almost like a 0.325, and you can say 0.33. So if I look back and look at the table, standard normal table, so 0.333 I can look at, that's going to be, this is going to be 0.6293. Okay, so 0.6293 will represent the 0.33. So that's going to be, you have, this is 1 minus 0.3 6393, right? 6293, 0.6293, and that is going to be somewhere like you have 1 minus 0.6293, that's going to be 0.3707, 0.3707. Right? Okay. Now, okay, before coming to this, I just want to give two examples, more examples, where you may able to see that that why this normal approximation is a good approximation to binomial one. Okay, so for that, let's take one example. So I have, let's take this example. So let x be the, let x be the number of times that a fair coin, that is flipped 40 times lands on head. Find the probability that x equals to 20. Okay, find the probability that x equals to 20. So for this case, I'm here the x is a random variable that denotes the number of times lands means like that a fair coin lands on heads means, and that is flipped 40 times. So it's a binomial random variable, okay, with a 40 number of independent trials, and it's a fair coin means it's a unbiased coin, so which we are going to take with probability of success is 0.5. Okay, so it's a point with 0.5. So if you look at the binomial distribution, so you can straightforward give you x equals to 20. Probability is nothing but 40c 20 times 0.5 to the power 20 into 0.5 to the power 40 minus 20, that is again 20, and that value is going to be somewhere like 0.1254. Okay, so that you can use, but you know 40c20 is it's very tough to means like you can say when you try to evaluate using calculator, it is not suggestible, right? More than 10 factorial. Anyways, okay, so now we want to look at this in as a normal approximation. Okay, so but you can't, it's a normal random variable is a continuous random variable. So at x equals at a point, probability is always 0. Okay, so we can't look at in the case when you are looking at x equals to 20. Rather, we should define it like an interval. So what we can do for looking at like a normal approximation, so I can write this probability of x equals to 20 as, I will write as probability of 20 minus 1 by 2 less than x less than 20 plus 1 by 2. So I add and subtract half here on the both in the 20, and this is a now interval where we can apply the normal random variable. Okay, means because it will be representing the continuous case, means you can get some values, non-zero value here. Now now see such type of correction. So this from x equals to 20 to this writing this x lies in this interval 20 minus half to 20 plus half, or any other value here 20 or something like 40 or some whatever. Okay, so what this known as a is known as the continuity correction. Okay, so I just want to mention here this is called, so which we have made just now, x lies inside this interval, which is both are the same thing, right? If you have x only can assume the point values, right? 29 30 40 like this. Okay, no value in the inside the interval, so these both events are same. Okay, so this is known as continuity correction because we want to use here as an approximation in terms of continuous random variables. It's known as continuity correction. Okay, now see, so now you can certainly have the following. So you have 40 times lands on head. Okay, so you have n is equals to 40. So distribution, what you require, the mean and variance. Okay, so what is the probability of success is 0.5. So you know for the expectation of x, you can find out that's going to be n into p, that's going to be 40 into 0.5, that is going to be 20. And variance of x, if you recall, that's nothing but n times p times 1 minus p. So that is going to be 40 into 0.25, that's 0.5 into 0.5, that's going to be 10. So I can assume that X as an approximation of normal distribution with mean 20 and the variance 10. So I'm interested in evaluating probability of 20 minus half. So X greater than 20 minus half is 19.5, and less than X 20 plus half, that is going to be 20.5. Now I will transform it into the standard normal variate to use the table values. So that's going to be probability of 19.5. I will subtract the mean and divide by standard deviation square root of 10. So minus 20 by square root of 10 less than 20.5 minus 20 divided by square root of 10. Okay, so now what are these values? You can use the calculator for them. Okay, so what will be these values are nothing but minus 0.16 less than X minus 20 by square root of 10, that you can use the calculator, less than 0.16. And what are these values? Right, this is going to be P of 0.16 minus P of minus 0.16. Now you use the symmetric property here, and what you will afterwards is like, what is the symmetric? P of minus 0.16 is 1 minus V of 0.16. So what you will have is 2 times P of 0.16 minus 1. Okay, so that is equals to 2 times Phi of 0.16 value, that you can use the standard normal table here. So 0.16, so 0.1, the second row, and sixth column. So 0.16 is 0.5636. Okay, so 0.5636 value into 0.5636 minus 1. Okay, so that's going to be, okay, something around 2 into 0.5636. So that's going to be 0.127 approximately. And this you can see, which is very near to 0.1254 approximately. Okay, so here this you can see this in this example, that you can assume that normal will be a good approximation to the binomial. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, let us take one more example here. Okay, the ideal size of a first year class at a particular college is 150 students. Okay, the college knowing from past experience that on the average only 30% of those accepted for admission will actually attend. okay, uses a policy of approving the application of 450 students. Compute the probability that more than 50 first year students attend this college. Okay, so the ideal size of a first year class at a particular college is 150 students. Okay, the college, knowing from past experience that on the average only 30% of those accepted for admission will actually attend. So the college uses a policy of approving the application of 450 students. So compute the probability that more than 150 first year students attend this college. Right. So let's look at the solution. Okay, let us denote X, the number of students. Let X denotes the number of students that attend the college, attend this college. Okay, means X can take values from 0 to 40, 50. Okay, so 30% of the students, those accepted for admission, 30% of those accepted for admission will actually attend. So it uses a policy of approving the application of 450 students. So out of 450, 30% of those accepted for admission will actually attend. Means probability of means success here is 30%. Means it's certainly out of this 450 number of students. So 30% means like 0.3 will be the probability of success, and X will follow the Bernoulli distribution. Okay, and what we are interested in, probability of that more than 150 first year students attend this college, means X greater than 150. What we want to use is X is greater than 150. Okay, right. See in the question, if you look at back, so the ideal size of a first year class at a particular college is 150 students. So in a class, its size is 150 students. Okay, that's the ideal size. Now, from the past experience, the college understood that on the average only 30% of students, those accepted for admission, will actually attend this college. Okay, so therefore, like 150 into 3, such as 450 students. So that uses a policy of approving the application of 450 students. Okay, so what is the probability? So then we are interested in computing the probability that more than 150 first year students attend this college. Okay, right? That's the target of this, we can say, a college, that you have to enroll for 150 students. Okay, in a certain course. Okay, and means you are going to the college is going to approve the application of 450 students because of their past experience that only 30% of those accepted for admission will actually attend this college. So 70% will go here and there, they are getting admission somewhere else, you can say, and they will decide to stay near at their place and also on. Okay, so I think this may explain your this question. Okay. So now see, we are interested in probability of x greater than 150. So I hope you don't want to go with binomial, okay, because it will use 450 C 151 450 C 152 and so on. Or if you go with the negation of it, 1 minus probability of x less than equals to 150, okay, that will also use number of things, okay, like which you don't want to get into it, like 450 C 100, okay, right. So let's try to look at in terms of normal one. Okay, so what we can do is we can use the continuity correction, and what we can say is going to be x is greater than equals to, let's say, 150.5. That also will be the same thing. Okay, now see, we have the mean, so certainly we can find out the variance. We have the n, so we can find what is expectation of x. That's going to be 450 into 0.3 n into p. And what is variance of x, means sigma square, is 450 into 0.3 into 0.7. Okay, so what is the expectation value? 450 into 0.3 is 135, and what is this sigma square value is? It's going to be this is going to be 94.5. So we can derive these values because from the definition of x. So now we want we want to use the standard normal table. So we definitely wish to convert it into the standard normal variate. So that's going to be, now this is equals to probability of now x minus mu, that is 135, divided by standard deviation, that is square root of 94.5, is greater than equals to 150.5 minus 135 divided by square root of 94.5. So this is going to be equals to probability of x minus 135 divided by square root of 94.5 is greater than equals to. So if you calculate this number now, so 150.5 minus 135 is 15.5. Okay, and if you divide by this square root, okay, let me use the calculator. So this is going to be, yeah, so it's going to be 1.5945. So this is probability of z greater than equals to 1.5945. So this you can find out. So that's going to be 1 minus, so it's equals to 1 minus p of 1.5945. So I will be 1.59. Okay, so now you use the standard normal table for replacing this value. So if I want to use 1.59, so 1.5 is here, and 9 is this 0.9441. So 0.9441 will be the value. So 0.9441. So that's going to be approximately 0.0559. Okay, so this will be the answer. So means how many, what is the chance is 6%. Okay, so probability that x greater than equals to 150.5 is, like, you multiply by 100, so 100, so that's going to be 6% of the time to more than 150 of the first 450 accepted actually attend. Okay, so that's a 6% chance. Okay. Okay, right. So we have, okay, so now let's like we have also understood that sum of independent Poisson distributed variables also follows Poisson distribution. Okay, and sum of independent binomial random variables also follows binomial. Okay, so with probability of success is same in each independent trial. Okay, right. So let's take this also in consideration, that sum of independent normal random variables is also a normal random variable. So if you consider n number of normal random variables, so let me say, so let x1, x2 and so on xn are be n independent normal random variables such that xi follows normal distribution with mean mu I, and standard or variance is sigma I square. So I is equals to 1 to n. Okay, now define x is equals to x1 plus x2 plus and so on plus xn. Now what this result says, that then x also follows a normal distribution. So mean and variance of n independent random variables that you can easily evaluate. Okay, so if we want to claim, so what is our claim is as follows. So our claim is x follows normal distribution with mean summation mu I equals to 1 to n. And what will be the variance? You know, variance of sum of independent random variables is sum of individual variance, right? Variance of x1 plus variance of x2 plus variance of xn, right? And their covariances are 0 due to that fact. Okay, so that's going to be summation I is equals to 1 to n sigma I square. So we want to claim this. Okay, now to do claim this, we are going to take the help of moment generating function for normal random variable. Okay, so that is that can be find out. So if you recall, you can say I can say this is here. I will state what will be the moment generating function for normal random variable. So let y follows a normal distribution with mean mu and sigma square standard normal distribution. Variance. Okay, then this my of t, that moment generating function, that is going to be expectation of e to the power ty. Okay, that can be shown to be e to the power mu t plus sigma square t square by 2. Okay, so that can be proven by using again the substitution method. Okay, and using the definition of density function, that integral over the whole real line is 1. Means you have to create artificial values there. Okay, right. So if it is means like if you have any difficulty in finding this, you just let me know. I will I will supply some notes. Okay, with some. Okay, so it's again will take time here, so I don't want to do that. Okay, right. So now I'm going to use this definition for a normal random variable. That will be the moment generating function. So if you have the moment generating function of this form, means you can certainly extract what will be mu and what will be sigma square. Since there is a 1-1 correspondence between distribution function of random variable and moment generating function. Okay, right. So now I'm going to find out what will be the moment generating function of this sum of this independent normal random variables. So we are interested in finding the moment generating function for this x random variable, that random variable x, which is sum of the n normal random variables That's going to be expectation of e to the power tx. Okay, so now this is equal to expectation of e to the power t time x1 plus x2 plus and so on plus xn. Now using that fact that e to the power expectation of e to the power tx1 into e to the power tx2 and so on into e to the power txn. Now this is equals to expectation of e to the power tx1 into expectation of e to the power tx2 and so on expectation of e to the power txn, because x1, x2, xn are independent random variables. So e to the power tx1, e power tx2, and so on e power txn are also independent random variable. And you know that if x and y are independent, then expectation of x into y is expectation of x into expectation of y. Okay. Now each one are normal. Okay. So we know that each moment generating functions now. Okay. So this is going to be, so first one. So if you recall from the previous, okay, that e to the power mu t plus sigma square t square by 2. So for the first case, so it's going to be e to the power mu. So mean for x1 is mu1 t plus sigma 1 square t by 2, ct square by 2 into e to the power mu2 t plus sigma 2 square t square by 2 and so on e to the power mu n plus sigma n square t square by 2. And now if you conclude this is going to be e to the power mu t plus sigma square t square by 2. Use the fact that you have e power a into e power b and so on. There's going to be e to the power sum of these arguments. So where what is mu? Mu is sigma mu I is equals to 1 to n. And what is sigma square is the summation of sigma I square. So I equals to 1 to n. So since this is a moment generating function for normal random variable, okay, so this uniquely determines the distribution of x as well. So therefore this implies x follows normal distribution with mean mu and variance sigma square. So this above implies x follows normal distribution with mean mu, and that is mu is sigma mu I, and sigma square, that is summation sigma I square. So I is 1 to n, I is 1 to. Okay, so it proves the fact that sum of n independent normal random variable is normal. Okay, right. Now let's take one example. Okay, so data from some agency, okay, that's known as National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, and which we are calling now things like in this lecture NOAA. Okay, so indicate that the yearly precipitation in Los Angeles is a normal random variable with a mean of 12.08 inches and a standard deviation of 3.1 inches. So it is that the yearly precipitation in Los Angeles follows the normal distribution. Okay, so this will be your mean means mu, and this is your standard deviation means sigma. Okay, so that follows the normal distribution with mean mu and standard deviation sigma is 3.1. So sigma square is 3.1 whole square. Okay. Now find the probability that total precipitation during the next 2 years. Okay, so this is giving you yearly precipitation follows the normal distribution. Okay, with mean and variance so and so. Now find the probability that the total precipitation during the next 2 years will exceed 25 inches. Okay, so first year also will be the normal, second year will also be the normal. And you know that sum of two independent normal random variables follows normal. So far we have not made any assumption, or it is not given that they are independent. Okay, right. So let's so here assume that the precipitation totals for the next 2 years are independent. So let's solve our problem. Okay, so this implies, so what we are interested in the first part is, we are interested in the first part. So that's means we are interested in probability of, so if you denote x1 is the precipitation for first year, x2 denotes the precipitation total for the second year, then x1 plus x2. So I will just write down what I have said just now. So let x1 and x2, okay, be the precipitation total for the next 2 years. Okay, so since first year is also follow normal, and second year also follows normal, and assume that the precipitation totals for the next 2 years are independent. So then from the previous exercise, x1 plus x2 will also follows the normal distribution with, you have 12.08 plus 12.08, because, right, 12.08 plus 12.08, comma, sigma 1 square plus sigma 2 square, so 3.1 whole square plus 3.1 whole square. So 3.1 whole square plus 3.1 whole square. Okay, so that's equals to, means it follows 24.16, comma, you have, this is going to be 19.22. And what we are interested in, probability that during the next 2 years this total precipitation will exceed 25 inches. So probability of x1 plus x2 more than 25 inches was like this, greater than 25. Okay, so as we have done previously, we are going to convert it into, this is this, if you denote by x, okay, this is, you can denote by x. Okay, so I am going to make with x minus mu by sigma is greater than 25 minus mu by sigma. So what is mu is 24.16, what is sigma is 19.22. So that's going to be probability of x minus 24.16 divided by sigma is the square root of 19.22. Okay, that's greater than, you do all this things, let me do it. So that's going to be 25 minus, so you have, this is 25 minus 24.16, that's going to be 0.84, divide by square root of 19.22, that's going to be 0.1916. Okay, so what it will give you is, so this implies means probability of x greater than 25. So that's going to be phi of, I have, this is just now probability of z greater than 0.1916. So that's going to be 1 minus phi of 0.1916. Now use the standard normal table. Now I hope you are able to do that. So get the 0.1 row and see the column 0.09 is end column value, and you will get the value is, final value is 0.4240. Okay, right. Now the next part is find the probability that, so this is done. So find the probability that next year's precipitation precipitation will exceed that of the following year by more than 3 inches. Okay, so next year precipitation will exceed that of the following year by more than 3 inches. So we are with the same definition, precipitation total for the next 2 years, and assume that the precipitation totals for the next 2 years are independent. So now what we are interested in, probability that x1 is greater than x2 plus 3. Okay, that we are going to, so that we are interested in. Means, so this is implies probability of x1 minus x2 greater than 3, more than 3 inches, at least 3 inches, right? That next year precipitation will exceed that of the following year by more than 3 inches. Now, see, if x2 is normal, then minus x2 is also normal, scalar multiple of a normal random variable is normal. Now, x2 is independent of x1, so x1 and minus x2 also independent. So this also is the sum of two independent normal random variables. Okay, so x1 is normal and x2 is also normal. So x1 follows normal distribution with 12.08 comma 3.1 a square. So that is going to be 9.61. Okay, plus standard deviation. X2 follows normal distribution 12.08 with 9.61. What about minus x2? So minus x2 will follow, the expectation will take the negative value 12.08 and standard deviation will remain, variance will remain the same. Right? Because variance of bx is b square time variance of x. So if you recall all this definition here. Now, so what will be x1 minus x2 follow? They will also follow the normal distribution, that with normal, with mean 12.08 minus 12.08 is 0. And with with variance is 9.61 plus 9.61, that is going to be 19.22. So mean is 0 and standard variance is 19.22. So if I denote this as y, okay, let us denote y equals to x1 minus x2. Okay, and use the conversion of standard normal, normal to standard normal variate. So that's going to be probability of y divided by square root of 19.22 means y minus 0 greater than 3 minus 0 by square root of 19.22. Okay, and use the, you use the calculator and then use the values from the static. Okay, and verify. I think that means that you can verify. I can give you the approximated value here, that is 0.2469. That's a chance probability. Okay, so it means in the previous case there is a means you can multiply by 100 to make a percentage. Okay, so 42.4% chance in the first case that the total precipitation during the next 2 years will exceed 25 inches. Okay, and in the next case you can see there is a 24.69% chance that next year's precipitation will exceed that of the following year by more than 3 inches. Okay, right. So now what we are going to define is a percentile, okay, of the standard normal variate. Okay, so which is defined as follows. So that's the definition. So for alpha value lies between 0 to 1, open interval 0 to 1. Let us assume that G alpha. So definitely you are trying to find out a point, a real number, okay, such that probability of Z greater than Z alpha is alpha. Okay, so what it means, that probability of z alpha is nothing but 1 minus phi of z alpha. Okay, so phi of z alpha is 1 minus alpha. So you are trying to identify a real number, that probability of z, so this is nothing but probability of z less than equals to z alpha is nothing but 1 minus alpha. So you are trying to investigate this point, g alpha. Okay, so what we will call this g alpha is the 100 time 1 minus alpha. So that will give you the percentage. Okay, so we will call this g alpha the 100 time 1 minus alpha percentile of the standard normal variance. Okay, so up to this means this much means like percentage will be covering. Okay, this is what it means. Okay, so we call this g alpha the 100 time 1 minus alpha percentile of the standard normal value. Okay, right. So I think we have completed now standard normal or normal distribution. Okay, so the next session is tomorrow. We are going to see the new distribution which are arising from this normal distributions only. Okay, and we will completing all the special type of continuous random variable by tomorrow. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask. We can just close here.